Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. My name is Josh Lilquist, and Online Trading Academy is a world leader in investor and in trader education, content, and different programs on how to make investing decisions for your long term wealth strategies or trading strategies. Say people are looking for an income strategy in the market. We have content on all that, and we have investing classes that people have been texting into. By the way, these are free classes that people are texting into. You can text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 tickets for this class. You can bring your spouse or significant other. When you also do that, you're going to receive a quick start kit. It's a financial quick start kit. And in this kit, there's a couple different things on how to get started right away, but also there's some free stock picks kind of illustrating what that supply and demand or that core strategy might look like on a price chart. So you can kind of get a taste of that prior to coming to this investing class at our local academies. And in that last segment, we were talking about, did I get the text line? I don't think I did. Text the word investing for those tickets to the number 210. Text investing to the number 210. Al, sometimes the older you get, you just start to forget a little bit. That ever happened to you?
I don't know. I forgot.
Oh, there we go. Now, what are we doing today? Oh, we are talking about the stock market. So in that last segment, we were discussing those different income strategies in the market. But we didn't get enough time to talk about those wealth strategies. So we have a lot of talk about a recession. Prices have gone down in the stock market. And as I'm looking at a chart right now for our YouTube listeners, I'm looking at the US dollar. And that US dollar has been soaring for quite some time.
Hmm.
I was actually doing a podcast with one of our instructors back in May of 2020. And we were talking about that was a crucial point with that dollar because if it drops below where it was at, we might see a big buying opportunity with the stock market. Well, it didn't do that. We saw a huge spike with the US dollar, which has dropped the stock market because they're basically inversely correlated. When one goes up, typically the other one goes down.
Right.
Well, it's just something to be concerned about here as the recording of the show. The dollar the last few days here has been going up pretty quickly. And the stock market might be lagging behind a little bit. I don't have a crystal ball. Could it, do the opposite of what I'm saying? I don't know. But there's ways to make smart investing decisions in those retirement accounts, but by putting the odds in your favor. And this is one of the odds that we talk about is how to have more probabilities and odds with your retirement accounts, not the buy and hold strategy, that 60-40 strategy like you were talking about earlier, because this is the wrong environment for that.
Right.
So how do you help people make smart investing decisions with their IRAs and 401ks?
Well, again, it gets down to education on what moves the market. Why does the market move? What are the opportunities? Because a lot of people don't know. What I would say a good 90% of the people that come into these free classes, Josh, don't know what futures, Forex, or options are, or they might have heard of them, but they have no idea how to use them or why they would want to use them. And I think the most important thing is we always ask people how they are protected, how your portfolio is protected. People don't know.
Yeah, they say, I don't know.
I don't know. And did
I
you?
got a guy or I got a gal.
Yeah, right. And they told me that I'm okay. I'm going to be fine. Well, there's a way of basically having an insurance policy on your portfolio. And I always ask people if they know how to do that. Almost never has anyone said they do.
Well, they look at you like you have two heads because they've never heard that because they're not
Right.
being counseled on that.
Yeah, and also they don't know how to make money or how the potential to make money in a down market. The markets are going to move up and down, but there are opportunities all three directions, up, down, and sideways. You mentioned the dollar, the strength of the dollar. One of the problems there is that uh, the over half of the companies in the S&P 500 are multinational companies, which mean a lot of their profit comes from overseas. That dollar significantly impacts that in a negative way. So that maybe is part of the problem that we're seeing with the market right now. But when you think about it, most people that have a 401k, the choices that they have there, for the most part, if it's an equity component, it's simply trying to mimic the S&P 500. Right now, even the Bank of America, the head of U.S. equity and quantitative strategies, has said the S&P right now is the worst thing to own near term. And that's typically what people are in, is something that is related to the S&P 500. So one of the things that we talk about are the different choices you have. You have choices within a 401k or 403b that you can manage. And I think that word managing or manage is a component that people really don't understand and don't use. People will maybe put a portfolio together and then kind of put it on cruise control and let it ride. There is a way of managing a portfolio, number one, for protection, and number two, to actually increase the potential returns that you get from that portfolio. We show you how to do that. We talk about managing. But people have assumed that this market is going to continue to go up, with the exception of what's happening in the first half of this year. What we're seeing is, I get information from people all day long. I've seen some pretty well-established people saying, number one, we think the market's got another 20 to 30% downside to go. Somebody else will say, I think the market's going to have a huge boost on the upside by the end of the year. And then there are a bunch of people that say over the next 10 years, the market's going to be flat. Who's right? We don't know. But you shouldn't have to care about that, because what you're looking for are assets that are in an area where we know there are going to be buyers, and an asset that's in an area where we know there are going to be sellers. And most people now are at the point where they are relying on some kind of an employer-sponsored retirement plan, and those are typically, or never were intended as is the way to be prepared for retirement.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. As you see all these different articles that come out, and one says this and one says the other, and you say, who is right? But, who cares? Because that's why when you were talking about in that second segment about core strategy, how to follow the banks and the institutions, not follow what they're saying, follow what they do. And that's identified on a price chart. And that's why our core strategy is designed to follow what they are doing, not what they're saying. If you want to learn more about that, we have these investing classes here at our local academies. If you're listening to the show, we have a class very close to you. You can text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 tickets and a financial quick start kit to help you get started right away. So you were talking about the IRAs and 401ks and kind of making these decisions yourself, because you have the ability to do that. You can actually make your decisions in your retirement accounts. By the way, you actually already are through your broker.
You have more than the ability to do it. You have the responsibility of doing it.
Exactly. So how does somebody self-direct? How do you actually do that? Because a lot of people, like you said earlier, don't know where to start. So what are some of the first things you need to do to self-direct?
Yeah, well, especially for people that have left a company. And there's a lot of people that have switched companies, by the way, that have a 401k sitting out there. So you can, if you have a 401k and you leave a company for any reason, you have the ability to roll that into a self-directed IRA. Almost every brokerage firm will allow you to do that, to have an IRA that you direct yourself. You make the choices. There's no fees there, so you've eliminated one of the biggest drawdowns of your retirement accounts, which are fees. So if you keep your money in a 401k or 403b, you are keeping your money in something that you're being charged fees for, and they can be fairly significant fees. You're keeping your money in something that has limited choices, and to be honest, they're mediocre choices. You're all still making the decisions, and you're paying somebody for the right to make your own decisions. In a self-directed IRA, which is very easy to set up, no fees, you're still making the decisions, but now you have many more choices. You can have access to assets that will benefit in a down market, a sideways market, an up market. You can have that protection, that insurance policy I spoke about. All of those things are available, and we talk about that in these classes. If you need help with it, ask us. We can give you some guidance there.
Yeah, the great thing, Al, about the show that we do here today is we're able to inspire people and introduce people to these new techniques and concepts that they're not taught about anywhere else. They don't teach it in school. You don't get this help from your broker or your advisor. And but the problem is we can talk about it on the radio, but it's hard to actually show you something on the radio. We have a lot of YouTube watchers that watch the YouTube so they can kind of see some of the things that we're talking about. But we have a special 3-day class that I want to give people, our radio listeners, and this, by the way, this is just to our radio listeners, an opportunity to get into. It's a 3-day course, and it's a deep dive into the financial markets, talking about our core strategy, showing what that looks like, showing how the institutions are buying and selling, and what that looks like to identify to trade with them, not against them. Normally, this 3-day class is $200. For our radio listeners here today, you can call in for this. It's only 99 bucks. It's a 3-day deep dive into the financial markets. You can call 888-682-6466, and this is for 2 seats in this class. That's 888-682-6466. When you call in, make sure to mention you want the special 3-day class for 99 bucks. You tell them you are listening to Investing and Trading Live. Al, we've talked about a lot of topics. Great show here today, inspiring people to get started, but how the institutions tell people what to do and do the total opposite. But we also help people with different tips and tricks. Let's hear today's OTA, tip of the week.
Well, Josh, I like to sometimes read and quote wisdom from nonfiction, factual, indisputable sources, also known as fortune cookies.
Oh, there you
And
go.
actually, this is really good. This one said, if you live out of your imagination, you live out of your potential. And we often talk about how powerful it can be to imagine how you want things to be. Imagine what you want your future to look like. And to be honest, successful people often imagine themselves being successful before they are, and that helps them realize their full potential. So your imagination can be one of the most powerful tools you have to change your future. Now's a good time to start using it.
Yep. Great opportunities in the markets, great opportunities in wealth accounts and income accounts, but you got to get started. Hopefully, we've inspired you to take that first step and learn about the financial markets. And you know what? Dream, but dream big. Same time, same place next week. If you did miss tickets to that 3-day course, you can call us 888-682-6466. Retire young, my friends.